Don't you find it frustrating when you're constantly posting and posting and posting, and all you get is like 2 likes, no comments, no feedback, no shares, no nothing, and you've put so much work into that post? Hello, my name is April Jim, and I'm in an abusive relationship with marketing. Don't you find it frustrating when you're constantly posting and posting and posting, and all you get is like 2 likes, no comments, no feedback, no shares, no nothing, and you've put so much work into that post? Marketing for an introvert can feel like this, but the truth is you're just not putting out enough content. You're not putting out, maybe not that it's not enough content, that you're not putting out the right content. And that's something that I'm learning now on my journey. So I looked into the type of content that people are normally attracted to, and it's either drama or something that's going to bring them value. The best content is ones that bring both. So they get both drama and value. As an introvert, we like to be genuine. We're not trying to say, and I'm not telling anyone to do this, to go out and create fake drama. We like things to be genuine. So we got to look at our product. What is the value in our product? What can it bring to the market? And how can we get that message across? So how can we share our message in a way that is genuine and it gets the attention that it needs, and people can find both drama and value in it, entertainment and value. So that's what we're working on. That's a part of my journey. And that's what I'll be doing with incognito marketing. So you also have to look at it this way. We are emotional consumers. We tend to gravitate towards things that grab us emotionally. And even though people today are becoming more and more distant from each other, I think naturally, as a natural human instinct, we're looking for ways to connect. So in the world of being an introvert, it's challenging. We prefer to just be on our own. Let me tell you, if I could just write my books, publish it, and it sells millions a day, we wouldn't be having this conversation. But that's not what's happening. I'm writing my books, I'm publishing them, but it's not reaching the audience that I needed to reach. I don't know how to push it to where it needs to be. I thought about, what can I do to get my product out there, and what would be the first thing I need to focus on? The first thing that I needed to focus on was brand awareness. Basically, promotion and marketing and content posting. Nobody really knows me. Nobody really knows what I do. I actually have almost 5,000 people on my Facebook page, and I can post something and maybe get 2 likes. Sometimes I post something and I get hundreds. Sometimes I post something and it's just like 1 or 2. There's so much coming at people every day. They're bombarded. So my steps that I went through is I looked at my product. I'm like, am I creating horrible books? I write books, right? So am I creating horrible books? I had to analyze my books. I got into this thing where I call it revamping, where I take a book that I published previously and I redo it. I go through that book with a fine-tooth comb. When I started writing books, I knew next to nothing. I'm self-taught in writing books. I'm self-taught in formatting, publishing, all those things that it takes to get a book out to market. I had to teach myself because of lack of funding. So that's not a bad thing. And I always tell people, either you have time or you have money. If you have the money, you just hire the expert. If you have time, then you got to learn how to do these crafts yourself, which also leads me to why I'm in college. So I didn't have the funds, so I had to self-teach on how to do these things. I had to learn how to format my book the proper way for it to be published. So when I reached a point that I was now skilled, I had developed the skills in those areas, I went back and looked at my earlier work and was horrified and pulled it down. So, okay, maybe that's why it's not selling as nice as I'd like it to. So I pulled those down and I revamped them, and I'm not against it to take it down. I have a book that I wrote titled Feral. And when I published that book the first time, it got 2 stars. I actually got I didn't get this. This guy found it on his own. He was apparently a professional, very well-known book reviewer, and he gave it a horrible review, rightfully so. Again, this was in my earlier years, so I didn't know the things that I know now, right? Know better, do better. Well, I developed my skills and I pulled that book, and I rewrote it. It just had to really, I learned about getting all of your stories. So I say, don't leave your story on the table. I was leaving a lot of the story on the table, and I corrected that. Went through another rounds of editing, developmental editing, and so much and so forth. I actually had to learn how to developmentally edit my books. And what I got off of that was that book is now almost 5 stars. It went from a 2-star book to now it is a 4 point something star book. And it's called Feral by April Thomas. April Thomas is my pen name. So that showed me that the product just needed to be polished, right? So sometimes the product just needs to be polished. No amount of polishing is going to make that product sell the way you want it to, but that doesn't mean that it's bad. It just hasn't reached its audience. There is a book, there is a product for everyone. You just have to find them. I always say I'm only looking for 1% of the market share. That's it. And that's what I'm searching for. I'm not looking for every single person on this earth to want my book. That's not my goal, because I don't believe everybody is going to like my style of writing or like my style of storytelling or be interested in the type of books that I write. There's people who just don't read fiction, right? So with your product, you got to realize it's not for everybody, and that's okay. There's over 7 billion people on this planet, and you only need 1%. That's it. Just 1% to be really good, to be really, really good. I mean, if you do the math, 1% is a lot. So keep that in mind that, first check your product. Is it polished? Can I improve this product? If your product is good, it's just not getting the views. It's just not seen. You're just not being seen. And you need to focus on building your brand. So for me, what I decided was to start a magazine. Now, I've done this in the past. I have another magazine called Pandem for another company. But this magazine, I'm focusing on this product, which is books. And in this series, I'm focusing on my books for right now. So I started a magazine. It's called Bookish Bites Magazine. And I've been working on this magazine for over a year now. And I decided I really, really need to get this going. And I said, this is a great way to get, I have over 20 books. The ones that I have already revamped is somewhere just under 20. Those are the books that I'll be pushing in the magazine. Now, I didn't want to make it all about me, right? I wanted it to be about authors and readers and bring them together. So my thing was, how can I make it so that I can share my work and get it out to the masses? And maybe I have to start small and grow out. Well, the idea that came to me was to make this magazine, put my books in it as ads, and write articles surrounding the topic of reading and just things like that. And other things that people who like to read will be interested in. Again, I'm not looking to satisfy everybody. I'm only looking for that one specific market. And for this product, it's going to be readers. I'm looking for that market, readers and authors, and bringing them together, specifically indie authors. So I'm not even going after traditionally published authors. I'm looking for independent authors. The community, basically, you're going to do a pay what you want for a full-size ad. Full size, half size, it's pay what you want for a full-size ad, right? We have like a minimum threshold for the premium areas of the magazine. The minimum is you have to pay at least $25, which is next to nothing for a magazine. Let's be real. I don't have a distributor. I don't have Barnes & Noble saying, hey, when do you come out with that magazine? I don't have anybody who even knows I'm doing this other than you and whoever I post this to in social media. So I keep that in mind when I'm doing my prices. Yes, it's going to be online, and that means it's going to get everywhere. But there's I used to know the exact numbers, but I think in America there's about 1 million books that are published per day, right? So it's not like, hey, April's publishing her book today and she's the only one publishing her book. There are 1 million other authors who are publishing their book today. So you got to look at that. Like there's a lot of competition. So it doesn't mean like your book's going to sell, but you're only looking at your market, the people that you're marketing to show interest in what you're doing. So I'm not looking for everybody, right? My concept with Bookish Bites Magazine is to also debut not just my books, but other authors' books who participate in this, and to actually contact hair salons, places where have waiting areas where people are, just kind of lounging about waiting for their service. I want to call the store owner or manager and ask if I can leave a free copy of the magazine there. So that is the whole concept of my magazine. So not only am I getting my book out there, I'm also helping to get other people's book out there. So it's a kind of like it's a community effort that I'm working on. That's going to be my Trojan horse into getting my books better marketed. So if you can find a way, maybe, for example, maybe you do crafts. I'm just going to use that as an example. Maybe get together with other crafters. Don't look at people as competition. I don't look at other authors as competition. I look at it as like, let's see how we can work together so we can all get up there. That's just how I look at it. And I know not everybody's going to see it that way, but and there's, on average, a reader reads more than 10 books. A decent reader, the average reader, I think they said, reads about 8 books, 8 to 10 books. I don't know if it was a year or longer, but that's a lot of books. So listeners, like, what's so bad about being with another author, like teaming up with another author? That reader may not like my book. They may like her book. They may like both of our books. It doesn't mean that she can only read April Thomas's books or only read this other author's books. She can read, all these different authors' books. So why can't we come together? And the same thing with crafts, like you have your individual fingerprint when you create your crafts, whether it's drawings, paintings, clay crafts, whatever, just whatever you make, sewing, any kind of creative art that you do, it has your unique fingerprint on it. And the same thing I tell with authors, we can all write the story of Cinderella and they will all be different. Same thing with creating a craft. You guys can all create a Christmas tree and each one would be different. You have your own unique fingerprint. So never think that you're in competition with another person. Okay. So the only one you're in competition with is your previous self, you from yesterday. That's who you're competing against. So find a way. Maybe there's a way you could create like a crafters journal, a magazine, where it's just local crafters in your online community, in your local community, and come together. And you'll be surprised. Maybe create events, but think of things where you can bring others together so that you guys can kind of support each other and create a community, and that will actually expand. Because there's people who like to do crafts and there's people who like to buy crafts, right? And the people who like to buy crafts, they're going to hang out around the people who like to do crafts. They're going to go to those places where those people are, if it's attending events and stuff like that. So how does this fit in with introverts and not wanting to show yourself on camera? Let me tell you, this took me all day to do this setup and to get my brain to sit in front of this camera and talk to you. I really don't want to do this. What I'd really like to do right now is go to my laptop and write my book. I'm working on my 4th book in one of my series, and that's what I would really want to do. I really don't want to do this. But the sad part is, if we don't do something different, if we don't challenge ourselves, we're never going to get our message out there. So everybody has a message. Even in your art, you think, oh, well, I hand make socks and I sell them. That's not a message. It is a message. There's a message in there. Maybe you just don't realize it, but there is a message in there. And there's things that you could do to get your message out and across. So This is me challenging myself as an introvert to come out on camera. And if I can do it, you can do it. Don't think that it's impossible, but the sad part is, as much as we would like to stay behind the camera, as much as we would like to stay behind whatever it is, our craft, and stay hidden and just produce, you're gonna have to at some point get yourself out there. And the sooner you get yourself out there, the better. So I am going to be stepping into the unknown, and I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how this is all going to go down, but I'm getting ready to get out there and figure this all out. See you in the next episode.